Another challenging lesson to integrate into your awareness is the role that generational trauma may play in your life. And this one is a little bit more tricky to identify, as you may not be conscious at all that generational trauma is playing an impact on the person who you are today. Generational trauma can look like anything that you believe is not an aspect in your control, and yet it is something that continues to limit you, that is passed down from either parents or from people beyond in the lineage. Well, the way to look at generational trauma is as another challenge that forms a certain specific lesson in your life. You need simply to accept that this role in your life is something you need to now consciously navigate by choosing wisely, by realizing that the generational trauma doesn't actually need to block you in your day-to-day experience. In other words, when you make the unconscious aspect of your experience conscious, such as realizing that you have some limitation imposed by what you're programmed to believe you're meant to be doing here that was maybe passed down by parents, grandparents, so on and so forth, you can realize now to redefine this experience for yourself. Realizing that you get to now create a new kind of karmic lineage, where you create a new program for yourself, means that you are changing the karmic developmental cycle. You're changing what your children are going to be able to experience and what their children are going to be now knowing as the status of their world. You're choosing to assume responsibility for the karma that did exist that maybe your ancestors, parents, grandparents, etc. were not able to work through because they were simply limited in their own awareness. You can look at all of these different people across the karmic lineage as individuals that were still fully sucked into the unconscious program. When you feel generational trauma, that is not something that you are just picking up from the field or from what you have been taught or believe. It is actually something that is deeply lodged in your DNA. Now, if you think that you are now bound to that karmic program because you cannot break free from the DNA structure, think about how DNA can actually change its expression when you decide to change within yourself. The expression of this is called epigenetics. Epigenetics is this budding field of awareness that when you change the variables in your life and you assume responsibility for your reality, the way that your genes express themselves immediately changes. Now, all this awareness about epigenetics and the ability that we have to break free from generational trauma informs us that we indeed have the ability to change even these deeply unconscious programs that we may be attaching to. This means then that we need to be more conscious not of the past or of what our ancestors or parents or grandparents were embedding into our fields, but of who we want to become and where we're still limited in our self-expression that needs to be augmented. This means then that the most important element to espousing a more spiritual perspective in your life, to manifesting more harmony, balance, bliss, happiness, and health, is you choosing to espouse a new spiritual diet for yourself. That means the food you eat, the air you breathe, the kind of things that you allow yourself to interact with, the energy of your words, the frequency of your thoughts and intentions. It's being very conscious and relating wholeheartedly to every single thing that enters your field of awareness. This then means that to have a spiritual diet is to be very aware of every single variable in your life and to start to choose something very different. Now we're going to do a deeply healing and transformative exercise. For this exercise, I want you to get a journal entry and think about all of the deeply traumatic relationships in your life. What people do you still harbor some resistance towards? Think of your friends, family, and any others in your life that have created a difficult relationship with you. Now think about why it is that you harbor these difficult feelings towards these people. What kinds of emotions are you still experiencing? Do you resent these people, try to blame them, or resist them because you don't think that they served an important role in your life? Now think about how these traumatic experiences have changed you. How have they changed the person that you're experiencing as yourself every single day? Now reflect on these experiences and look at them from a higher perspective. Think about how these experiences maybe were serving a higher purpose. How maybe these people were actually helping you by serving as important teachers along your journey. Consider how you can start to release some of the resistance you harbor towards those teachers in your life by choosing to love them unconditionally for the role that they have served. And choose to love yourself more deeply through this process of analyzing the important role that every lesson has served in the formation of your higher state of consciousness.